My name is Nicholas Tolson with Linear Tube Audio, and I'm excited today because I'm talking with an old friend and some great guys, some great musicians. I've got Grant Hill, who records and produces under the name of Ion Sound, and I've got Jordan Miner, who records and produces under the name of Callaway. So let's jump right into it. You all, as we sit here today, you have a new track that's going to come out next week. As people are watching this, it will already be out, and there will be a link below in the description so that people can hear it.
Yeah, we co-wrote it together, and with Lee Scratch Perry. Yeah, so we're really excited.
That's the part that I wanted to get to. Obviously, you very casually dropped, oh, we did it with Lee Scratch Perry, and for those that's actually a pretty big deal, because for anyone that doesn't know, you should go and check out the Wikipedia page on Mr. Perry. I'll link that below as well. But he is no exaggeration to call him a legend, a luminary, an innovator, pioneer. He basically invented the dub style of music, correct? And worked with Bob Marley and a million other musicians, a Grammy Award winning himself for albums, and he's a musician and producer. So that's amazing. So tell me, how did you all get connected with Lee Scratch Perry?
Well, about 2 years ago, I kind of got the thought to reach for the highest possible echelon as far as musical innovation goes, because I was producing music and looking for collaborators. And so just sent him an email, and I had kind of told him some of the work that I had done in the past, that I had some soundtrack experience, some experience producing over here in the United States, because he lives between Jamaica and Switzerland and he tours worldwide, just kind of as a shot in the dark. And lo and behold, I got a message back that was like, Lee Scratch Perry's email inbox is full. We're sorry. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, there's not much you can do with that. And then 2 weeks later, I got an email back, and it was his wife, who was his manager, and she said, I've talked to Lee, and he would love to work with you.
That was easy.
I told him, yeah, I told them at the time, kind of my idea and my intention of the song was to create a song that would promote healing, unity and peace, basically. Something that connected a new generation of musical creatives and producers to the original innovator of modern music production.
And the track is called Evolution, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I listened to it once again this morning. You guys were kind enough to send it to me early so I could hear it. And yeah, on a rainy day here in DC, it produces all those good vibes that you're talking about. So I can definitely vouch for that. So what was it like working with, you went from email, you sort of went on this roller coaster ride, right? Like, all right, I'm just gonna email this guy, give it a shot in the dark. But then you get that auto reply. It's mailbox is full, so you're probably, all right, well that shot, missed. And then you get his email back that's like, boom, we're ready to go. So what was the process like from there? Like, how long? Walk me through what happened after that email from his wife.
So that's kind of where the funny part of the story comes in, because I had the conceptualization of a song, and I was like, I've got this song. But there's also like an active manifestation, like I'm going to make this thing happen. And then when they emailed me back, I was like, well, I now need to make a song. And so I, just in kind of my style of like creating, like I'm never one to like rush something, and if something is not hitting, I'm not going to just move forward with it. So it was actually about a year that I was just recording stuff, demoing stuff out, sampling different things, records, nature sounds, other musicians playing, and nothing really hit. And so that was the whole concept, was something that I just kind of like put on the table in front of me, and was like, well, when it's ready, if the timing is right, it will come. And so fast forward a few years later, I knew that Grant was making sound healing music and was doing different sound meditations and sound baths. I had seen videos of him playing his hand pan, which I'll show you a little bit later, and we started collaborating. Basically, Grant would come over and we would just make music. We would sometimes play hand pan and guitar together. Sometimes we would just record the hand pan. Sometimes Grant would record the tablas, different percussive instruments. Sometimes I would play keys. And so we just did this once or twice a week for about a year and a half solid. And one day Grant was playing this hand pan riff, which really is kind of it's the main melody that runs basically throughout the bloodline of the song. And Grant was playing, and in my head I kind of heard like the reggae drum and bass behind it, you know, like that classic. It was like, because that style of reggae dancehall dub is not really in like my musical DNA. That's not something that I go to naturally. And when I heard that behind it, I knew. I was like, I just kind of turned around to Grant and I was like, so, you know, Grant, it's been really awesome working with you. There's this guy, his name is Lee Scratch Perry, and I kind of told him a little bit of the backstory. And I was like, I think this could be that song. Is this, you know, is this something that you would want to move forward with? And kind of, we talked about what that would entail, and he was like, yeah, let's do it. So we spent the next few months basically building up a track, hand pan, guitars, different samples, different percussive instruments. Grant also played some tablas that are down low in the mix. We just kind of built up like a tapestry, and we reached out to him to no avail. We didn't really hear back from him after we had spent all this time, which something like didn't really surprise me too much. I'd been so much time, he's so busy. And I saw he was playing in Durham, North Carolina, with another musical group he collaborates with called Subatomic Sound System, and they were doing a tour of their of Lee's classic album Blackboard Jungle Dub, which is kind of one of the early dub albums that was ever created. So I went to the show. I got there really early, listened to the DJ. They came out and just put on an incredible show. I mean, the bass was so loud that it was shaking the HVAC unit in the place, and it was like just an incredible feeling. So I kind of like hung around afterwards. I met two of the musicians in Subatomic very briefly. The saxophone player, Troy, who actually plays on this track. Troy
I was
Sims.
gonna ask. I heard that, and I was gonna ask where the saxophone came in. That's cool.
Yeah. So, just side note, he's from Brooklyn, New York, and he plays in a few different groups. Subatomic Sound System is the group he plays with Mr. Perry. He plays saxophone. So he plays two different types of saxophones. He plays in the alto saxophone, and then he also plays a soprano saxophone as well.
Cool.
And so I went to the show, and I just kind of hung out afterwards. And there was a few people that were going back there to talk and to meet the group. But it had been a particularly long tour for him, so like they're like, you know, this is just gonna be like a few minutes. Like you shouldn't, like, basically don't hang around. You know,
and he's not a young guy at this point either.
No, he's in his 80s.
Right.
And he'd been on tour like over the whole country over the past month, you know, and so I kind of hung out, and I got to talking to the guy who was like the doorman basically, and he was like, "You like reggae music?" And I was like, "Yeah, I love reggae music. I like all kinds of music, especially those with amazing world elements. I produce music." He was like, "Oh, you make music?" I was like, "Yeah, and that guy in there I'm trying to make a song with." So it would be all, he was like, oh, I make music too. He's like, I totally understand. Come on in. And it was like musical Karate Kid moment.
Yeah, you made that connection. Yeah.
Let's go. And so I went back there, and Mr. Perry was holding a piece of wood and kind of mumbling over some different fruits and things like that. I said, excuse me, Mr. Perry. He turned around. I was like, my name's Jordan. I've been talking to your wife. I'm making a song with you. I still really want to make that happen. I was able to say hello and meet and greet some of the musicians there. We talked for just a few brief moments. And a week later, I got an email back, and I was like, okay, send it over. Let's go. And we sent it over, and he was in Switzerland at the time when he got off the tour. And we kind of went back and forth. We talked about what do you want the song to be about. And so we kind of wrote up some lyrics, bass line lyrics. And we had been doing a deep study of his musical stylings, beforehand, just to kind of get a feel for what it's going to be like. Because if you haven't heard his music or his performances, very creative and unique, and lots of improvisation and off the cuff, and it's kind of like musical shamanism. In a sense, it has that source of just rawness to it. And so we sent him a bassline lyrics, and he okay, we're gonna go to the studio and record it. Basically, they sent over 3 takes that he did, that in some parts came together, and some parts were totally different, and some parts made, no sense, seemingly. And then what we did is we went in there and just made cuts and put things together, and kind of took on that aspect of what dub music is all about, which is all about addition and subtraction and taking things away. And we found bits and pieces that really found a strong line of a song with meaning. And he sent back a chorus. The chorus that you hear is something that I had in my head, but I didn't demo it out before I sent it to him. I didn't sing a demo and send it to him. What he sent back was basically some of the ideas that Grant and I had for melody just before it came back, and things just fit in so perfectly.
That's way cool. So so he really, it sounds like, obviously, you, like you said, you sort of put this out there to the world, and gave him some parameters, but it sounds like he really took to it himself and added a whole lot to it.
Yeah, because it took some time to get the song back, and Grant and I were like, you think he's gonna send it back? And then we were ending one session one day, and I look up and I see the WeTransfer link. It was like, Lee Perry has sent me some files on WeTransfer, and I was like, what? He just sent it. and we popped in, and we basically just had our whole, our whole world was blown up, and we were like, whoa.
Yeah, because it had been, at that point, it had been years and years, essentially, in the making. Tell me more about the recording process. What each of you guys bring to the table.
So, like I said, it started off with the handpan riff that Grant came up with, and we recorded that. A big part of my musical production background is making scores, musical scores, and we both build beats just as kind of a practice that we do, something that is a big passion of ours. And so we put in the keys and some basic drums right then and thereafter. I play guitar, so I filled it up with a few guitars. We sent it to Lee, and he put down his vocals on it. An old friend of mine, his name is Ben Colberth, he plays the bass on the track. Troy Sims, like I said, is playing the saxophone. Grant also played tablas on it. Like I said as well, we have a few samples on there, and I sang harmony on the track as well.
Cool. I'll definitely have to go back and listen to it again and try to pick out all those pieces. I'm sure there's a ton more going on in there, like, you know, with many songs. You know, when you see the screen of, you know, a digital audio workstation, you don't realize, you know, how many, or watch like an old VH1, you know, behind the music, and you see those guys at the control board, you know, turning on and off tracks, and you don't realize, you know, what you think is, you know, 5 instruments, you know, and a singer is really just, you know, countless different tracks.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers, and for a fun musical ride, just listen to Troy on the sax one time all the way through. It's really, it was really neat to see all the elements come together, because they did come together like blocks, you know. The initial sort of stumbling upon the hand-pan riff that caught Jordan's ear, you know, it was kind of like you know, a snapshot in time that I won't ever forget, because he sort of like turned around in this certain way, and it was like pulling the needle off the record player, you know. And he was like, "Play it again," you know, and then like swooped in with the microphone, basically, you know. And that became the root of the whole song, you know. That was the nucleus, the genesis of the song. But then, yeah, like when we got the tracks back from Lee, you know, that was like another moment you'll never forget, you know, because it was so dialed in, and like he gave us 3 takes, like Jordan said, that we sort of meshed together. But he sort of, every step of the way, he over-delivered. So it was really nice working with him. And then the next step was the saxophone, you know, and that completely transformed the song. It took it to another dimension. And like I said, it's a really fun ride to just kind of key in with your ear on Troy's sax. It's really fun. Yeah,
because like Lee, he sent us 3 saxophone takes, and he said the same thing. He was like, sometimes they go together, sometimes they pull apart. For the most part, they blend well together. And I would automate and turn different ones off, and there was something just really, really special about having them all going at the same time, even when certain ones kind of have a little bit of dissonance, but to me, that's just part of that sound, especially of the Black Ark, is a little bit of musical dissonance, and things that tickle the ear in a special way, especially like you said, when there's so many tracks. I think there's around 130 tracks on there.
Wow.
And so the key with the saxophone was really just the automation. So in certain parts, there's different takes that come louder, and all the saxophones are panned. They're doubled and panned as well. So you get a nice stereo image of the saxophones. And really the key was having them, like I said, be automated and blend in and out at certain points. Just like dub, that's the key to it.
Tell us, the track comes out when, and where can we find that track and the other music that we make? Because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are interested.
Yeah. Evolution comes out November 16th, which is next Monday from now. And yeah, you'll be able to stream it wherever you listen to music. On my Instagram, I have a pre-saved link. My Instagram's ion_sound, ion sound, on Spotify. But yeah, if you go to my Instagram, you can pre-save it and it'll go straight into your liked songs on Spotify. Otherwise, keep your ears open for Evolution on November 16th.
Right on, and this video will probably drop, on or about November 16th, maybe the 17th.
Okay.
So it will be out for people. I will definitely include links below directly to the track if it's been released, and to your Instagram. Where can people find things about Jay Callaway?
You can find me on Spotify at Jay Callaway, and if you want to work together, please email me at jcallawaymusic@gmail.com. And we would love to work with you.
And I released an album last week called Beats for the Rain. if you're into like jazzy, chill, lo-fi beats, that's what you got with Beats for the Rain. You can check it out on my Spotify.
Cool.
Perfect.
Thanks,
love.
guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Perfect
Really,
love.
really appreciate it.
Rise. Perfect love. Rise. Perfect love. Rise. Higher the rise of Christus in the wilderness. Peace, perfect peace, I kill the beast. Higher the rise of Christ. Perfect love. Reincarnation. The new generation will rise. A new generation shall rise and reign. The new generation rise. Evolution, evolution. Evolution, evolution of every nation. Evolution, evolution. Peace, peace, peace. In the motherland, in the fatherland, in my brotherland, in my sisterland. Evolution, evolution. Evolution, evolution of every nation. Evolution, evolution. Peace, peace, peace. No poverty. No bad luck. No evil. Perfect peace. Perfect love. Rise. Perfect love. Rise. Perfect love. Rise. Perfect love. Perfect love. Perfect love. Peace in the motherland. The new generation will rise. A new generation shall rise and reign. The new generation will rise. Evolution,